Yes, everybody, Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you're safe and well. Happy afternoon. Happy Thursday. It's almost a weekend, so West Ham can ruin it again. And we play Brentford at the G Tech Community Arena Stadium thingy on Saturday. So Anton did his five things we could learn from the Liverpool game this morning. I then had a bit of a rant and let you guys decompress. Some of the stats from the game and stuff, some of the players that stood out. We had the Julien Lopetegui press conference ahead of the Brentford game coming up. And it's Hammers Headlines in association with the KUMB.com, boys. Don't forget to check them out for latest news, reviews, and opiniones. 3 stories. So let's get into it. So let's start with Lucas. When it rains, it pours. It was my birthday yesterday. I don't know if I mentioned that, but obviously West Ham didn't really help out much. But coming out of yesterday and actually quite heavily reported, I think at the Times today, is further allegations regarding Lucas Paqueta's betting inquiry incident, whatever you want to call it. His family have received new allegations of spot fixing payments, primarily coming out the Brazilian news website UOL on Tuesday, but they've since sort of then been drip fed and been picked up by the media, the UK media today particularly, which alleges that Brazilian striker Luis Enrique received payments from Paqueta's uncle and cousin in early 2023, totaling above £5,000. And then the report in the Times yesterday by Martin Ziegler stated that he received payments after being booked in matches for Real Betis in La Liga. Paqueta's uncle, Bruno Tolentino, acknowledges the payments, but clarifies they were to pay off a debt and in no way related to the sports betting or spot fixing. The Spanish FA aren't investigating it, and Paqueta remains in strenuous denial of any wrongdoings on his own side. He's maintained the stance that he'll fight, very breath to clear his name following allegations that he was deliberately booked for financial gain in matches against Leicester City, Leeds United, Aston Villa and Bournemouth across the last 2 seasons. The Brazilian playmaker's family have been accused of profiting from booking incidents, and we know the ongoing investigation has cast doubt in terms of what the future holds for Lucas Paqueta, both for West Ham, but as a professional football player as a whole. Obviously, I think it's like January's when the hearing's going to be heard, and then we'll see what happens. But it's all been adding up again a bit more, unfortunately, in ramping up in terms of allegations towards his family. So yeah, not. He strenuously denies any wrongdoing, and until we get a verdict from the court in January, don't know what else we can do. He carries on playing. Now, a couple of transfer rumours, and again, this one's a particularly random one, I say, but I like random ones more than anything. Helps to break the monotony of us losing games and conceding goals. But apparently, West Ham are front runners in the pursuit of a Jamaican international. I sure I know they're called Richard King. Dickie King admit interest from also Aston Villa and Newcastle. He could be on a move to England as top clubs are apparently monitoring his progress in the Jamaican Premier League. West Ham are believed to be the leaders in the race for his signature. He currently plays for Cavalier FC and has featured only over 70 times in the first team and has made quite a name for himself with consistent performances in the heart of the defence. The 22-year-old has already featured in 19 matches for the Reggae Boys, and he is considered a huge prospect. 6'1", and he's on the wish list of many top English clubs. As I said, Emery's looking at him, and they would hope maybe to hook up with Leon Bailey, obviously Jamaican teammate. Newcastle said also keen, but as I said, West Ham apparently the front runners because of not just because we're massive, but because of obviously Antonio as well, a big teammate. Obviously, Antonio's contract is going to expire at the end of the summer, so we'll see what happens. But it might be that King, comes in. He seems comfortable on either foot. And can also step up into defensive midfield when needed as well. So versatility. They might be looking. This one is very much one for the future. I don't think he's going to cost a terrible amount of money from the Jamaican Premier League. No disrespect to Cavalier FC, but one who you can get in now, 22, young age, and develop. And again, it's one of these sort of pearl divers, isn't it? Really, and as I said, it won't cost a bit of a punt in terms of whether he can adapt into the Premier League, but he's not going to cost a lot of money. And be interested to see how it works out. How he works out. And lastly, Jonathan David, a man who's always been on our radar for the last several years for sure. But according to reports, West Ham have requested to be kept informed by Lille about Jonathan David's situation at the club. He is apparently the Canadian international has told the Ligue side, that he will not be penning a new deal and will be leaving as a free agent at the end of the season. That being said, David is now looking to potentially sign a pre-contract elsewhere, and he obviously could do it from January. Lille would ideally like to sell the 24-year-old during the January transfer window, so they can secure some sort of money for him. There was sort of tepid interest from us back in the summer, and potentially, you could have got yourself a good bargain there. But no one is not, and again, it's not just West Ham's failure to secure Jonathan David. No one else went for him. Aston Villa, Chelsea, Arsenal, Newcastle, apparently all believed to be interested in signing him, but no one did. And they would have probably got themselves a bit of a bargain from Lille, to be honest. David's goal record throughout his time in France is exemplary, is exceptional. Obviously, he hasn't played in the Premier League, and it seems as though he would have to adapt to the English game if he were given the chances. I don't think from a West Ham perspective we can really sign him in January unless it's really, really, really cheap, like the budgie, because obviously we spent heavily in the summer. However, it might be something that we can sign for a new pre-season contract in January for a summer signing next year. The likes of Danny Ings, the likes of Antonio are entering the final year of their contracts, so they'll be out in the summer unless either are offered a new deal. But I can't see it, to be honest. It gives an opportunity to move people on. And Jonathan David could be coming in, and it could be one of those options potentially. Player I've admired for a long time, but so has other clubs as well. So we'll see. And that's it, my friends. As I said, keep an eye on the West Ham Network. Also, keep an eye on thesemonbrand.com for latest news, reviews, and opinions. And until next time, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, and come on, you bloody, 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 bloody irons. Irons!